Hey everyone, this is Stove here, getting right back into the preview of Week 8 of the NFL schedule. Obviously, we have at least 6 teams going into the bye this week, and instead of 15, we have 13 games this week, so obviously we won't be getting a little bit too spoiled with having a morning game on Sunday or 2 Monday night games this coming weekend, but at least we'll still have some good football matchups. At least I feel like they'll have some good football matchups. There could be some upsets a brewing. I'm just saying, even though I do see certain teams that have already won before, or teams that look a lot better than teams that they're going up against would win, there could still be some upsets. But at the same time, we're going to get right into it. And yeah, also, to be clear, this past weekend, I was actually 13 out of 15 correct on my matchup predictions. So you guys may be able to, on just who won, of course, but you guys may be able to, hear about that and see what I could be able to do this coming weekend as well. So anyway, going into it, we had Thursday night football, Vikings versus Chargers, and Chargers are at home. Right now, Chargers have been very up, down, all around kind of silliness. Chargers did not necessarily do anything their first half of the game, but Justin Herbert was still able to put on a fantastic show of 420 passing yards and 4 passing touchdowns. Obviously, I already explained this. The previous video I made and is also now uploaded at this point in time. Though I do think with Kyle O'Connell, way he looks at coaching these quarterbacks and stuff like that, whether or not Carson Wentz plays, whether or not JJ McCarthy plays, I do think Vikings will probably still end up winning, only because of the fact that, sure, Justin Herbert has the chance of playing very good football and putting the Chargers into have 5 wins and 3 losses after Thursday night. However, I do see this defense giving a lot of trouble to Justin Herbert. Right now, Justin Herbert's offense couldn't really get the ball rolling on running backs. That's also just because Hampton is still hurt and will be hurt for probably another 4 to 5 weeks. But they don't necessarily have too many running backs to be just having them go out and do whatever. At least in my opinion, Justin Herbert will literally just be throwing the ball pretty much the whole game, just like he did last game. He probably won't be throwing 55 passes, but I do think he'll be throwing a decent amount still. And Justin Herbert does have the wide receiving core to do so. As long as these guys are healthy, you have Keenan Allen, you have Ladd McConkey, you have Quentin Johnson, like I said, as long as they're healthy, and those are 3 solid guys there. Defensively, however, they have given up so many points, and the defense have put themselves in position to where they just look like, whenever it comes to points against defense, they just look so bad. I mean, it's undeniable whenever you can see the last 2 weeks that they've given up in the last 2 weeks, I think they've been top 5 in the most amount of points given up by a defense, I'm pretty sure. Though that being said, I do have, I could be wrong on that, but I do have to say Vikings defense also has their back and forth stuff. I've never seen the Chargers get blown out yet, besides against the Colts. I've never seen the Vikings get blown out yet, I believe. So I think if you have a Vikings defense that plays pretty much similar to how they played against the Cincinnati Bengals, you're more than likely going to see a lot of trouble. I don't necessarily see this being, if it is a high-scoring game, it won't surprise me. But do I think it could still be a very close game? Yeah. I think whoever gets the last points in this game will definitely win this game. There's no question about it. The last team that gets the points on the board, whether it be by touchdown or field goal, will win that game. I just think it's the Vikings. The Vikings have already had a bye week. Chargers have not. Chargers are dealing with some injuries. Vikings kind of aren't, besides JJ McCarthy, which again, I don't know if he's going to play. So that being said, I am still going to do the Vikings, even though Justin Herbert still put on a fantastic show. We are going to see who is, Justin Herbert is just a better quarterback than Carson Wentz right now in both of their careers. Justin Herbert blows Carson Wentz out of the water. Justin Herbert looks like he's on the break of possibly being the first quarterback this year to get 5,000 yards, possibly. So that being said, though, like I said, depending on what Vikings defense we get, I'm assuming that we're going to end up getting the Vikings defense where Justin Herbert throws 2 interceptions because he is forcing the ball way too much. And Justin Herbert has already done that. Now, granted, you have that offensive line that seemed a little bit better, but against a defense like how the Colts were, it's still alarming not being able to score only 3 points in one half. Imagine it may be a closer game just because the Vikings are the Vikings and Chargers defense is a little up and down. Obviously, I'm talking way too much about this main game, but I'm just saying this game, and there's 2 other games that I've been very about, which I'll get to that later. But I do say Vikings are going to win it just because right now, run game, they're good. As long as Jason Mason does his thing. Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison and TJ Hawkinson, they all play well, and as long as the offensive line comes in healthy for the most part, you're gonna see some pretty good stuff from the Vikings offense, I believe. Right now, it could be all just, at the end of the day, it could just end up being the last team that has to be on defense that will make the last mistake will end up losing this game. So anyway, but I do think the Vikings are going to end up actually upsetting the Chargers at their home. Hopefully I'm wrong, because I really hope the Chargers do something that we haven't seen before, and I'm hoping that I'm wrong just so that the Chiefs aren't fucking always in first place whenever it comes to the AFC West. But anyway, starting off Sunday afternoon, you got the Bengals and the Jets. I obviously picked the Bengals with Joe Flacco playing how he is, and the Jets offensively hasn't done a single thing right now. I do think the Jets are going to lose again. Maybe it will be a close game if Justin Fields gets fired up from what his own GM or owner said about him, saying, oh, our quarterback's playing like crap. Yeah, the Breece Hall and Justin Jefferson are going to do their best to make the front office of New York Jets look stupid. However, Cincinnati Bengals, if that defense that showed up in the first half and even a little bit in that second half shows up at the Cincinnati, at the Paycor Stadium, then we will be 4-4. There's no doubt in my mind. Joe Flacco, if we see him like how we saw him this past weekend against the Steelers, you bet your sweet bippy that we'll be seeing that, and Joe Flacco will be throwing for another 3 touchdowns for sure. And hopefully even Chase Brown can get a solid run game going again. And I can actually see the Cincinnati Bengals going over their 6.5 points. I could definitely see it. I can see the Bengals winning. Realistically, I could see the Bengals winning like 28 or 31 to 13. If that Cincinnati Bengals defense shows up. It really just depends, but I think we're starting to learn what we can do, what we can't do, what we need to, work harder on, what we want to work a little less on, but still not forget that we can do that. So in that case, Cincinnati Bengals all the way. And hopefully they are 4-4 by the end of that game. Now, Falcons and Dolphins. Falcons, there's really nothing to it. Dolphins, sure, they can hand it off to Achane, throw it to Achane, maybe give it to Jaden Waddle a couple of times. But other than that, the way Tua Tagovailoa is playing, sure, this could end up possibly being an upset, and the Dolphins could end up winning by turning this whole thing around, by making it such a close game that all they needed was a field goal to win it. And in that case, I say take the under. But at the same time, they are 0 for 4. They are 0 out of 4 away games. They have lost every single away game that they've played in. So I think Atlanta wants to win at home to be 3-1 at home. And plus, Robinson's doing well. Drake London is starting to pick up speed. Kyle Pitts is starting to pick up some speed here and there. He's not been like the biggest. He's had like 1 or 2 solid games, but other than that, hasn't really been too big. But Bijan Robinson has been that guy for them. It's just we haven't seen him get a lot of touchdowns, but we've seen him get a lot of catches. We've seen him get a lot of huge chunk yards after run. But we'll probably see more of him, Drake London, and a couple other people in that receiving core that Michael Penix wants to throw to. So I think the Falcons are going to end up going 4-3 there. Patriots versus Browns. Unless the Patriots defense falls off from what they were able to do this past week, it would be shocking to me. Generally, it would be absolutely shocking if the Browns rushing game made Quentin Jenkins go for another 2 to 3 rushing touchdowns with another like 100 or so, with like 100 to like 150 rushing yards, and it be made a close game. that could definitely shock me. Now, if Shamar Stewart actually starts, then you could be seeing something different. But I do think Mike Vrabel, he actually is he's kind of good at defending the run and knowing how to defend a run. Granted, Judkins is a new guy. He can kind of burst out of nowhere some plays, where other plays he can get just absolutely swarmed. It's just going to be a little bit harder for Drake May as an offensive player to face a defensive line, but also a defense like the Cleveland Browns right now. Drake May, though, is playing phenomenal. Top 5 MVP candidate for the most part, I feel like. 1,744 passing yards, 12 passing touchdowns, and only 2 interceptions. So realistically, what I'm wanting to see here is to see how Drake May does against such a polarizing defensive line, and also a not like crazy good, but still a very skillful secondary like the Cleveland Browns, because that defense alone, if Cleveland Browns were to switch defenses with anyone else, I think that Cleveland Browns defense would be winning Super Bowls with the Chiefs, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Buffalo Bills. If the Buffalo Bills had the Cleveland Browns defense, they would be undefeated right now. Just saying, that's definitely a huge possibility. But that's what I'm saying. Like, we're gonna see an actual test. Not to say that Drake May hasn't already been tested. He's been tested by the Steelers defense. He's been tested by the Buffalo Bills defense. But again, Buffalo Bills defense hasn't been that good. And if it wasn't for just Josh Allen himself doing what he's doing, Bills would probably be like the opposite of what their record is right now. And again, this is all just like, possibility. But I'm just saying, like, this is what we're looking at right now. I'm gonna just say Patriots win against Cleveland Browns, but obviously, unless the Patriots forgot about how to defend a run game, or Mike Vrabel forgets how to defend a run game, then you may see Judkins still get like a touchdown or two in a huge burst of energy. I don't necessarily see a upset happening in Foxborough. I think they'll end up evening out the record for home wins and losses, and the Patriots will end up being 6-2 for sure. Giants and Eagles. This is an interesting one. Obviously, it's in Philadelphia this time. Cam Scatterboo and Jackson Dart have been playing pretty well, but so has the Eagles' offensive passing game. I think we're going to see a lot more passing from the Eagles, but we're also going to see a lot more explosiveness from the Giants. Unless the Eagles take out Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterboo and contain them as much as they can, I do believe the Eagles can win by more than 7.5 points. However, I don't think that the Giants... I do think the Giants are still going to make it a very tough game. Right now, they haven't won a single away game. And going up against a division rival in the Philadelphia Eagles, after the Giants had already beat the Eagles at home, you think the Philadelphia Eagles are probably just going to lay down and take another beating from the New York Giants? No. Not even close. And also, Jalen Hurts is probably the only starting quarterback with only one interception. Like, that's starting this week. I'm pretty sure he's the only starting quarterback with only one interception. So it's pretty impressive, especially with the touchdowns that he has, the amount of passing yards that he has, and getting so like juiced up about the fact of like wanting to do more passing. Sure, we can run the ball here and there, but that's really on worst case scenario. And Saquon Barkley is good enough to where if he finds a hole, goes through it, and all suddenly he bursts for 25, 35 yards. So we gotta watch out for that, which I think the Giants will definitely do. The only problem is, if it's a back and forth game, it will definitely be 60 plus points. So you can go the over on the 44.5 points. But if it's a tighter game than that, I don't see the Giants or the Eagles scoring a lot. At most, both of them are only going to score at most like 21 points. I could see Jake Elliott getting a field goal or two, but so I would say max is 24 then. So, but I do think the Eagles are going to win this time against the Giants. Makes more sense that way. But again, upsets. Panthers and the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills are going into Charlotte, North Carolina. Panthers are 3-0 at home. So saying that, it's going to be interesting. I don't know if Bryce Young is going to be playing. There's a possibility. But even if there's a slight chance that he doesn't, we more than likely will see Andy Dalton play against Buffalo. And the run game against Buffalo hasn't really been that good defensively. Like, the Buffalo Bills have just been not giving away points or letting points happen. It just does truly feel like, even though this league has gotten better and better, it feels like every 3 to 5 years with the amount of talent that it gets. But I still do think this defense needs to turn around, and I think beating the Carolina Panthers at Charlotte, North Carolina, I think it makes sense that the Buffalo Bills defense comes out, they take care of the offense, they take care of that run game of the Panthers, and the Bills end up scoring 30 plus for sure. They'll end up scoring 30 plus. If they don't, then it'll end up being a lot closer game for the Carolina Panthers for sure. No problems. But I do think the Bills are going to win there. Bears and Ravens. I did hear that Lamar Jackson has suited up for practice today, and today is Wednesday. So that being said, if he's suited up for practice, that means he will more than likely work his way into playing the home game against Chicago Bears. And it was literally, I'm not even joking, it was literally Chicago at 1.5 the favorite, and now since Lamar Jackson is projected to be coming back, it is now projected to go 5.5 the favorite of the Baltimore Ravens, which I do have. If Lamar Jackson comes out even 90% healthy, I think Lamar Jackson is going to end up winning against Chicago Bears. It's just right now, Chicago Bears have also been a little iffy. Even if it's a close game, Lamar Jackson stays healthy for that whole game, doesn't get hit too much. I'm gonna see the Baltimore Ravens get their second win of the season coming out of the bye, and Chicago going down 4-3. 49ers versus Houston Texans. Obviously, Houston is at home, But until Houston Texans can find a consistent run game that helps CJ Stroud get some pressure off of them, I'm going to have to say 49ers and Mac Jones are going to end up beating Houston. It's not going to be it's not going to be like a huge battle, I don't think. I think it will come down to field goals for both teams. Christian McCaffrey has done phenomenal leading in catching, carrying, leading in catches, carries, rushing yards, receiving yards, scrimmage yards, I believe receiving and rushing touchdowns as well. I could be wrong about the receiving touchdowns, but all those other categories, Christian McCaffrey has shown that he is that star for 49ers. He's going to continue being that star for the 49ers. Mac Jones is just there as the replacement there, which I still enjoy Mac Jones playing. It's just he can't be going back to throwing interceptions like you were in the Patriots. Either that or they're starting to find out what you do that makes you look like Mac Jones reborn. But realistically though, it will come down to kicks, whether it's Houston winning by a field goal, whether it's the 49ers winning by a field goal or two. Both teams will be kicking quite a bit. At least 2 field goals definitely, but at most 5 for both teams. Now, Christian McCaffrey could still end up scoring like 2 times, but still. Now, this is a divisional game, Tampa Bay versus the Saints. The way Tampa has been playing versus how the Saints have been playing, the only way that this is, like, and it's funny because they are 4.5 the favorite to win, Tampa Bay is, and yet New Orleans is at home. Like a lot of people understand, like, if the Saints end up winning, it's gonna be by a interesting way. Like, Baker Mayfield would have to, like, be throwing a couple of interceptions here and there. Egbuka and Rashad White would be having a bad game. But other than that, I say Saints will lose and be 1-7, and we'll have to probably, like, be like, hey, like, what are we gonna do here? Like, we're getting crushed by our division rivals, and there's no point of us even trying to make the playoffs anymore because we're already 1-7. It's doable, it's possible, but very unlikely for sure. Cowboys and Broncos. This was one of the games that I also felt that was very tough, just because the way the Cowboys were able to play against the Commanders' defense and be able to just fire off on all cylinders whenever it came to defense and offensive ways. You can definitely say that, especially with CD Lamb back, the Cowboys looked unstoppable. And the way the Broncos, even though they ended up winning their game, they couldn't score a single time in the first 3 quarters. You do that against the Cowboys, I promise you, you're not even going to win that game. You're not going to be able to come back like you did against the Giants. It's not going to happen. Very unlikely that it even happened the first time. But happening it twice, no. But I do think the Broncos, their main thing is to try or fire back first, unless they, want the ball to be given to the Cowboys, of course. If they defer, give it to the Cowboys, and then, stuff like that. Which I do see it being a higher scoring game, as long as Bo Nix doesn't, throw any interceptions. But I think the Broncos defense can definitely throw off Dak Prescott a little bit. They should be able to. But I do think I will have to go with the Dallas Cowboys winning against the Denver Broncos. Granted, again, their fourth quarter magic was great, but at the same time, the Cowboys just looked way more dominant. Even if the Cowboys defense doesn't show up, they just looked like a better offensive squad than the Denver Broncos had been. That's all I'm saying. Especially with CeeDee Lamb back. I mean, they just looked nasty. So I'm going to take the Cowboys there. Colts, the record speaks for themselves. They're the only team that are 6-1 in this league. They're at home, mind you. Even if Cam Ward plays his best game, the Tennessee Titans defense still hasn't gotten anything or done anything. Jonathan Taylor has done phenomenal as a rushing guy. He leads in rushing yards in the entire league. I'm pretty sure he leads in touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken. Either that or he's second in rushing touchdowns. But Tyler Warren has been playing good. Daniel Jones has been able to find his key players down the field. That Colts defense is very underrated, and you will more than likely see another dominating performance by the Colts in the first half, and then even the second half will be even more dominating. I don't see this being close, even though they're division rivals. Not a chance. So I go Colts there. And here's another one. This is the third one that I very much found to be very hard to look at. And that's the Steelers and Green Bay Packers. My only thing with this is Jordan Love has played pretty well as a quarterback. Only thrown 2 interceptions, but 10 passing touchdowns, 1,438 passing yards. Josh Jacobs has also done very well as a running back for the Green Bay Packers, scoring 8 touchdowns and 414 rushing yards. Jalen Warner has also done pretty well rushing-wise, gotten maybe probably 3 or 4 touchdowns less than Jacobs. But other than that, a lot of the sports analysts seem to be favoriting the Packers by 3.5 points. I think it will be that close. I just think the Steelers haven't lost to the Packers at home since the 1970s. From what I remember, I could be wrong. Maybe I should talk to my uncle who's a die-hard Steelers fan, but I'm almost for certain the last time that they were at home in the regular season, the Steelers had almost always beaten the Green Bay Packers when the Steelers had been at home. Now, obviously, during a Super Bowl or during any kind of playoffs or whatever, I don't know too much about that. That I'm pretty sure, obviously, Green Bay won that one. But still, I think we will end up technically seeing an upset with the Steelers, even though I don't want them to take this win, because if we end up winning the game, if the Cincinnati Bengals end up winning against the Jets, we would want the Steelers to lose, go 4-3 with us going 4-4. I just think that you'd never want to count out the Steelers, especially when they have talent on offense and defense. You never want to count out the Steelers, regardless of who's they're playing at home. If they're at home, don't count out the Steelers. And I'm not going to count them out now when facing probably one of the better favorited candidates to possibly win the NFC North and possibly even win the NFC Conference Championship. even though that has very much changed since Tampa Bay Seahawks have done their thing and been like switching it up a little bit. But with the problems on defense that the Packers have had, and even with their offensive inconsistencies sometimes, I do think the Steelers can try to get away with forcing Jordan Love to get a little inconsistent, and even Josh Jacobs to get a little inconsistent, and all they need to do is keep their butts moving with the passing game and run game, which they did last week, but the only thing that they did wrong was the 2 interceptions. Granted, one of those looked more like a stripped fumble just because of the placement of the wide receiver's feet, but I digress. I again will not count out the Steelers when they're at home. Even against the Packers, even against Micah Parsons and that defense, I'm not going to count out the Steelers. Unless Aaron Rodgers gets injured, then that's like But then you also got Mason Rudolph, who's been trying to learn from Aaron Rodgers as much as possible and could end up being a very solid quarterback after Aaron Rodgers leaves, but we'll see. Last but not least, we do have the Chiefs and the Commanders. I actually did hear that the Commanders have decided today at 2 o'clock-ish that they will not play and they will bench Jaden Daniels, which in fact has boosted the favorited points of the Chiefs to almost skyrocket, because it was like 4.5, well, it was like 5.5 to the Chiefs or 6.5 to the Chiefs, and it doubled or nearly doubled with Jaden Daniels now out. Marcus Mariota can still make a game close with the options that he has, sure, but the way the Chiefs have been playing defensively, and Patrick Mahomes also playing lights out with exactly 1,800 passing yards, 14 passing touchdowns, and only 2 interceptions, you're going to see some lights out football from the Chiefs. I don't know about the Commanders. It really is just a toss-up, especially if Deebo Samuel plays well and some of these other receiving cores do well, and Marcus Mariota is able to scramble, use his feet a little bit more than usual, then sure, it can be a very close game still. I would probably take, but realistically, I would probably take the under, only just because the Commanders have dealt with worse. I just think that the Chiefs will still end up winning Monday night's game with with Patrick Mahomes doing what he's doing. I would take the under, though. I wouldn't go for the 12.5. But anyway, you guys, hopefully you guys liked all that. Maybe you guys agree with me, maybe you guys didn't. If you guys didn't, let me know. Give me some of your narrative view of what you feel like some of these games are going to be like. By the way, and hopefully I am going to try to plan on doing my own sort of power ranking of maybe not all 32 teams, because that may take a little bit, but maybe I'll just do a top 10 or maybe even a top 12 ranking by week 9. Probably that's like what I'm planning on doing. So this week I'm going to try and look over some stuff and then try to see if I can do I'm going to try to plan on doing a top 10 or top 12 power ranking, but just let me know, you guys. But anyway, hopefully, like I said, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you guys think of the video. Comment, like, because it always helps these videos out. Subscribe, because it always helps me out and helps this channel grow, if you guys haven't already subscribed. And yeah, I hope you guys have a very wonderful day, and this video is being recorded on a Wednesday. Hopefully it will be uploaded by Thursday morning. maybe Thursday before I go into work. We'll see. But anyway, as always, sorry. As always, I hope you guys have a good one. Peace.